Hi, my name is Hallie Kittle. I am part of the BISM 2800 group to talk about the proper use of PowerPoint when creating business presentations. The group partners in our group are Devin Garnett, Clint Akins, Evan Camion, Hallie Kittle, myself, Haley Moyer, and Andrew Ridgway. So the intro to a PowerPoint, if you don't know what a PowerPoint is, it is a well-known software package designed to create electronic presentations by multiple slides or pages to present to a group of people to enhance everyday presentations and to grab the attention of an audience. So PowerPoint in a business setting, there are a lot of things that you need to take into consideration that can make or break your presentation. So a couple of the things why PowerPoint is so important in business settings is because it can be used to break down or simplify information that may be hard to explain to people. It can also organize ideas and to effectively inform your colleagues. So if there is something that you need to present, then PowerPoint can help you put that in order. Many different tools allows users to create an informative presentation. So a lot of the tools that PowerPoint has may or may not want to be used by the users because there are a lot of things that can make a business presentation less formal. So a couple of the things are like creating the font like way too big, putting way too many like actions on it to make them 3D, increase the size from small to big to small again, having a lot of colors that don't mix well. There's just a lot of different things that you can do on PowerPoint that will actually make it bad. Another thing is you don't want PowerPoints to have way too many words on them. If PowerPoints have too many words on them, then you are simply just giving the PowerPoint to the audience where you are reading it off of the slide as opposed to just speaking to your audience and instead of using it as an aid. So you don't want a boring or generic title, and then you don't want a whole lot of words. So like an idea on our PowerPoint actually has like a boring generic title, and then it has the entire slide filled with words. So it makes for a very busy slide. Some elements of effective PowerPoint are preparation, design, and features, and then rehearsal. So you're not going to want to go into a audience and present a PowerPoint that you've never seen before, because then that leads to loss of words, like I'm having right now, although this happens whenever I present, and just reading from the slides and not being very informative about the topic. So keys to remember using PowerPoint in a business setting is you want to be creative. You don't want to have, PowerPoint should be able to aid your presentation rather than just reading straight from them. You don't want to use the slides as a manuscript. So like I said, like you don't want it to be too wordy. Include quality graphs or other images to enhance your presentation, so you can make PowerPoints very inclusive with your audience. So it's not just you reading slides and giving them information. You can put links in them, you can put graphs, you can put other images, just simply to do whatever you need to get the audience involved. And then you want to use proper grammar and spelling as well, so you don't want to have a big long title and then not be able, like it not being spelled right, stuff like that. That's pretty embarrassing. Using appropriate designs to complement your context. So like I was mentioning, you don't want it to be too loud and too noisy. You don't want the words to be misread. You don't want them to, you also want them to be able to be seen by your entire audience. You don't want to have the front or the back not be able to see what the front does. So another thing, themes must be used to appeal the eye, and it needs to grab the attention of the audience. You don't want to have like funky colors or like a boring presentation at all. And then you want to use the right themes to complement your business credentials as well, like make them stand out. Use your achievements to show what you can do. So it gives the presenter a lot of credibility and recognition for being able to do that. So formats, do's and don'ts. Font size, you don't want a font size smaller than 24, but you also don't want a font that's larger than 35 to 45. And you want it to be, you want to use the same font for all of your headlines, but then you use a different size for the title. And then font color, you want to limit the number of colors that you use. If you stick to one or two color formats, then it should be fine. Bright colors make small objects and thin lines stand out, but use no more than 4 colors on one chart. but you do want your charts to be grabby for the attentions. Transitions. You don't want a whole lot of transitions used, like funky transitions where it slides in, it checkers out, just different loud things like that. And then clip art. You can use clip arts in charts sparingly, but you want to try to stay very graphical, like through the entire presentation. Like you don't want to use a whole lot of cartoons, anything to make your presentation look worse than it does. Like you don't want it to be real cartoony if you're trying to make a very serious point. And you don't want a lot of flashy and noisy animation effects unless it relates directly to the slide. So if there's a slide talking about a business proposal, you don't want a cat on there drinking milk. Just like something silly that would distract the audience away from the point that you're trying to make. So review and rehearsal. Review gives the audience confidence so that you can like kind of wrap things up. Rehearsal, it knows that, like, it shows the audience that the presenter actually knows what they're talking about and that they've done this before, and that they are very comfortable with what they are speaking about. And then in conclusion, just remember that preparation is key. Like always be able to talk about your presentation at any time whenever you're ready to give it. Implement a design and include features that will enhance the presentation. So you do want to add a couple things in there, like some good transitions, some different types of styles font from your title to your body. You just don't want to make it very boring because then that loses the audience attention very quickly. And rehearsal should never be underestimated. So don't feel like you rehearse once or twice, that's good enough. Like if you're trying to get a presentation to stick, then you definitely want it to be rehearsed more than once. Be able to ad-lib, be able to talk about anything that is brought up whenever you ask for any questions. And your format must be consistent through your whole presentation. So like I've mentioned before, don't make it too wordy, don't make it too picture-y. Practice makes perfect, and just make sure that your whole presentation slides very easily. Also, whenever you're giving a presentation, you want to be able to dress the part as well. So right now you can see that I'm a little overdressed to be giving a presentation. So that just kind of shows like the importance of your dress with the presentation as well. So it's not just all entirely about your presentation, it's how you perform it as well. So thank you for listening to this, and if you have any questions, feel free to give us a yell.